Hello and welcome to the Cosmic Heart Podcast. Today I have Dee the Alkemist. He is an entrepreneur, a creator, an artist, a musician, a music artist. He is also a photographer, a videographer, and he creates his own merchandise as well. He has a website which will be linked below this video. If this is on Spotify, it'll be linked on Spotify. Dee has overcome multiple different addictions and is an absolute miracle to be here and alive and a light for us all. Dee's story is one of absolute bravery, courage, and deep inherent strength to pull himself through things that are extremely difficult that a lot of people don't make it through. And so I just want to say that I truly admire Dee for coming on and sharing his story and being brave enough to share his experiences with the world, because it is truly commendable the amount of very difficult struggles that he has pushed through and pulled himself through. Dee is a behavioral specialist, and he has also worked teaching parents, teachers, and administrators more on how to work with children who are behaviorally challenged as well as on the ASD spectrum. Dee helps parents and teachers learn how to mainstream their instruction and also helps teach them how to grow and evolve in their teaching styles and parenting styles. Dee also does spiritual work. He is an energy healer, a spiritual being. He also reads tarot and is fluent in sign language. He is a life coach. He is an absolute multi-dimensional being, and he also helps people find what they're capable of and acts as a catalyst in order to assist people on their own furthering of their journey and growth. Dee has an LLC, a website called Elevated Ways, which ends in a z.com. Dee is a light that shines in this world among many other lights, but Dee's light is quite vibrant and bright. And so I say, I am so incredibly proud of your story, Dee. I am incredibly proud of you as a person, as a soul, and all that you've come through to get to where you are now and everywhere you're going to go in the future. So without further ado, welcome Dee the Alkemist. I would really love to actually hear about your story, but what you're comfortable with sharing, because your story is one of the most powerful, because you've overcome some of the hardest things that people tend to get lost in the translation between the lessons it's meant to teach us and the soul evolution it's meant to mold us into. A lot of people get stuck in that in-between part with addiction and things like that. And so I would really love for you, in the ways that you're comfortable, to share what happened for you and how you were truly, genuinely able to pull yourself through it and what your motivation was.
So I really didn't have anyone to turn to kind of growing up. It was kind of me helping raise my little brothers and sisters and stuff. Mom was around, but she was more out and doing her other thing. So I really leaned into the street life, which was a lot of, in order to make money and do things like that, it was what I surrounded myself with, which I became very much stuck into. A lot of these harder or more harsh drugs were just something that I got trapped in, right? It was a lot of times when we think of some of these things, we dive into them as just for pleasure, as just for fun, until we
Yeah.
understand that now we're trapped and we're stuck within them and can't get out. There was many times where I couldn't, but it was more so of at the point of when you're losing so much, all you have to do is work towards gaining yourself. But within a lot of it, it was like I didn't have a choice but to do it. So, for instance, doing it went from one thing to the next. So, like when I was younger, it was more so of around the stimulants area and doing all of that. But then I had my child, and I was like, I vowed never to be like my father because he was never around. He was gone basically in and out of jail and all of that. And just the effect that he had on me, I refused to have that with my child.
Yeah.
But having my daughter ended up having me give that up. That was probably one of the easier ones that I was able to release myself from. But the thing was, is I never really released anything. I think when we talk about doing these type of things, that we talk about addiction and addiction in itself. We have just hopped from one addiction to the next, to the next, to the next. So which led me to me doing prescription pills and doing it quite heavily to the point to where I couldn't pay for it anymore.
Yeah.
And not being able to pay for it, you turn into something cheaper, which is more harsher street drugs. And then that just escalated from there.
Yeah.
Got stuck and wrapped up in that for a long time
How long?
until it was more so, it was either you get rid of that or the children will be gone.
Yeah.
And so because of that, I was like, well, again, goes back to me being a parent and not wanting for my kids what I've been through. So I dropped that and then really went to like a methadone clinic for a few years.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
but my biggest thing was in those certain times, I didn't want to be like, for instance, the methadone clinic, you have to go there. And when you go there, you get the medication, you take it home. So I got it to where it was weekly. But after a certain point, I was like, okay, well, what happens if they're gone?
Yeah.
What do I do at that point? And so I was like, I can't be dependent on that. So what I did was I ended up tapering and getting it tapered down to where I was off of that. But during that time, I was drinking because in order to get your medicine, you couldn't have any drugs in your system, but they didn't test for the alcohol. So what I did was I just put down one thing and picked up another. So the drinking became heavily portion of my life, and it's always been there throughout my whole life. But when you're doing other things and it's a compound between the both, one seems to take over the other. Of course, because if you do both at the same time, it's a heavily impact on your body, and then your body shuts down. So picking up the drinks was, I'm still working, I'm still doing everything. So I was basically a functioning alcoholic.
Yeah.
It was a daily thing. I'd go do my job, go home from work. That's the first thing I would do is, not drink a beer. It was literally, I was drinking hard liquor
How
and I was
long did
doing
you,
that.
sorry,
No, you're good.
how long were you using the drugs and then switched over to alcohol? What was the time
So,
span?
I was a heroin user for a good 2, 3 years. Before that, that was at least 7 to 10 of doing pills and mixing
Wow.
it with certain things. Methadone was about a year and a half until I tapered off. But then alcohol was always a consistent, like that was always in there. But when I didn't do anything else, that was the only turn two. And
Yeah.
so when that was my only turn two, I did it heavily. I'm not, okay, I'm doing a wine tasting. Nah, give me the whole bottle and I'm taking the whole bottle. Um, but it just severely got worse. So I did that for many years up until 2020. 2020 with the COVID and everything, you don't have to go to step into work. Oh, I don't
Yeah.
have to be in front of people. So people aren't going to smell the alcohol on my breath. People are not going to know that I'm doing these things. All right, cool. I'm going to just drink a little bit throughout the day. Well, it happened through the whole time until they kind of lifted the restrictions and we had to go back to work. But during that time, it was just escalating more and more throughout the time to where I was drinking one of those big gallon-sized vodkas
Ugh.
by myself every 2 days.
Jeez.
So I was literally I had to wake up and to keep myself from the shakes and all of that, I had to try to take a shot, but it doesn't want to stay down because your body is rejecting the poison, but your body
Yeah.
needs the poison. And
Mm.
it's so funny because as like now I've researched some of that and it's like many other drugs and things of that nature, you don't die from withdrawal. The two things that you can die from withdrawal is alcohol and biodiazepines, which are both, kind of man-made and that's given to us.
Yeah.
So I was drinking so much they lifted it and I was like, all right, well what I need to do is try to taper down because I can't be sitting there drinking at work,
Right.
but I still needed it. So I'm over here taking a little bit in the morning. You could feel something by afternoon, so you have to take a little here, a little there, just to maintain. Well, because of the dramatic drop in what I was doing to then me having to go to work and try to figure it out at that point, it actually put my body into a alcohol induced seizure slash coma,
Oh my God.
which basically put me out. Like literally, I think I passed away a couple times within just that. Like my whole body just shut down. I woke up and I went into extreme seizures, like grand mal seizures that put me down. I woke up because I was driving down to go to Utah, but that didn't happen. Um, I woke up in the middle of a gas station. They called and they were like, "We need you to, or we want you to go to the hospital here." And I was like, "No way! I'm not going to go to the hospital in this small town.
Yeah.
Like that's not going to happen." My grandmother lived a couple hours out in St. George. I was like, "What we're going to do is make it out there." We ended up going out to St. George, and as I was there, I went into another one. Like my eyes went blank. You couldn't see anything, and it was done. So I woke up from that, and it was like I got hit by a Mack truck. Like
Mm.
literally every portion of my body was just tore down from the extreme seizures that I had. From there, I didn't touch any alcohol and up till today, which is it'll be on the 26th, my 5 years.
Wow.
So it's been basically one addiction after the next. But it was all to teach me something. Where I'm at now is I have more of a healthy addiction, and that's where I'm doing all of this, the photography, the music, everything, because what it does is to actually giving back my story, who I am, to show people that they can do the same.
Yeah.
It's not an easy process, but it's a process worth taking.
So can I ask you some like real questions,
Hmm.
like soul to soul? So
Hmm.
what do you feel like? Because not all of this will go on. I won't like think certain things, whatever you're not comfortable with or whatever I feel like shouldn't, just because if I'm guided not to, I won't. So I don't want that to limit you, but this is just me and you and whatever you feel comfortable sharing. And then you let me know what you want me to put and not. But
Hmm.
what do you feel like in your soul was the reason you had to experience all of that, aside from the reason we know, which is to use our story and our experience to help people, but like your personal internal reason?
My internal reason was, and it's not even until like really this last 5 years that I really understood it more is that people can go to a counselor, people can hear, the professional's help, but the professional a lot of times is not the one who's been through it.
Hmm.
So to make more of a connection in order to see more of a change, it's to have more of an understanding of you've been through the same thing. You know
Right.
the pain. It was nothing that it was a choice. Like it wasn't like, okay, this is what I choose to do, but it was something that was needed in order to relate to people to get them to understand. Because if I didn't go through it and I didn't experience it, how a lot of people have said, well, how can you tell me? Well, first off, I'm not trying to tell you. I'm just trying to be who I am and show you my experience. I don't ever want to tell anybody anything besides my story because whoever it resonates for, and if even if it saves one life, it's been worth it. But my experience and who I am has saved several. People come to me all the time like, oh, I haven't drank for X amount of time. And it wasn't that I'm like, oh, that is bad and you shouldn't do that. I said, this is coming from my experience and what I've experienced, and you can take it or leave it. But ultimately, that's up to you and people by their own free will, because that's where you're going to get the most efficiency within people is them doing that themselves, not being
Right.
dictated, not being told how to do it. But so me, I'm just being my story, and me being my story, then it relates to other people in order for a more impactful change.
And that's when the change is real, because when people are guilted or shamed out of stopping certain things, especially addiction, it won't last.
Mm-hmm.
It'll almost never last because it wasn't their desire in the first place. It was, they felt
Right.
guilt, but eventually something hard will happen or enough stress, and they'll slip back usually. So it's the best way to be with people how you are, because you're just real. You're just sharing from your experiences and letting
Mm-hmm.
people make their own decisions, and that's the best kind of teacher, really. When you If you could give some advice to people who are currently struggling with or have loved ones that are struggling with addiction, whether that's through drugs or alcohol, what would you say is the best thing that you would advise them to help them kind of feel like there's hope that they can pull through the other side?
That you're not alone. I think that that's the biggest thing is that a lot of times we feel like we are stuck, and that nobody will understand, and to be very open, because you can never heal what you hide. And the healing is
Powerful.
going to come through the transfer between person to person, place to place, thing to thing. Energy is free flowing as it goes to many places. What is the interaction with? We can stay stuck, but we can also understand and have faith and not fear. Not fear of judgment of other people, because regardless, it doesn't matter. People are going to judge us no matter what. But to really know that there's people out there and to have faith, because if we hold on to fear, that's only going to impede ourselves. Fear is faith, is false evidence appearing real. Like that's really what I put as the acronym. It's in your brain before it's ever your reality. So what we do is we create these roadblocks for ourselves, and that's what stops us from being able to overcome these hurdles. And I think that with doing that, we we kind of limit ourselves. But to know that there are people and there's things out here that can help, and it's not just the doctor. It's really getting to know that there is support, and
Right.
to open your heart, right? Because our mind is the most messiest thing there is. It's human supercomputer. And so when we open our heart, then we reveal who we truly are. in order for that to actually heal. But if you hide it away, you'll never heal, and you get into the same pattern over and over again because you didn't actually allow yourself to be open to the process.
Yeah, everything you said is extremely powerful. I want to add something to what you said a little while ago because it came through pretty loud, and that's to the part that you said, talk about what you're going through openly. And I know that some people, if not more than most, can relate to the feeling of reaching out to someone and not feeling really heard, and then that shutting you down from opening up again. But I want to say to that I'm a living example of doing everything very much alone for a very, very large part of my life, if not most all of it, virtually, not entirely.
Mm-hmm.
And I can say from that experience that for me, I'm more of an alpha. So like in my soul, that's just me anyway. Like I came here to do this in a very interpersonal way. But for the people that really do feel like they need to talk to somebody, and that includes me too, because I really do need to talk to people. It's just, I'm just now really learning how to do that more in the last couple of years. Don't let it shut you down just because one person doesn't give you what you need, because that really does not serve anything good for you. And all that's going to do is make you continue to feel more alone, which then makes you feed into the addictions even more because you're sad because you're alone, and et cetera, et cetera. You have nobody to talk to, and then you drink more or you do whatever. And then it's just a vicious cycle. So please, for whoever needs to hear this, just because some people are inept or incapable of being what you need does not mean that there aren't people out here that give a shit and want to hear you and will be there for you. But you have to be brave enough, and I know it's hard, but you do have to be brave enough to try again, because that's the only way you're going to find your people.
Mm-hmm. And I've just like you, I've done many of the things alone. Um, and coming down later in life and really making more connections and opening up to more people, it's more the essence of it didn't break you, it made you, right? The true sense of a warrior is not that you fail, because you're going to fall many times. It's how many times did you get your ass back up?
Right.
How many times did you keep on pushing? Because if you didn't get back up, then who is to really, I guess, blame in that situation, right? I can give up and I can surrender and I can be like, okay, I'm a product of this, or I could be like, I am better than the product of this. Let me prove that to be true, not to anyone around me, but to myself,
Right.
because truly I'm the one that I have to wake up alone. I go to sleep alone. I can't have a person by my side. But at the end of the day, it is you. We came in this world alone. We're going to go out this world alone. Everything that we accumulated in this world is a loan. It all goes back to the planet, including this body, including everything. The only thing that becomes stronger and sharper is your mind and spirit. So
A lot
when
of
we
things that you
understand
say
that,
are so many things that I've said for so long. It's that I'm
yes,
like, oh, he's soul family.
mm-hmm. Right. And that's where it comes to the connection. It's perfectly proven right here is that don't allow the people who don't listen to affect who you are as a being. Who you are is not tokened or not valued by another person's opinion.
Nope.
It's what it is for yourself in order for your self growth. Maybe that one person doesn't listen, but also too, there's other people who will never understand who you are. And to really fight that is kind of like fighting yourself, because we can't really get other people to exactly listen to the way we want it to be. So you move on, you move forward, right? Because if I want to stay stuck, I can stay stuck, or I can move myself backwards off of somebody else's feelings, emotions, and opinions of myself. Or I can say that's exactly what it is, and I can move myself forward in order to become the best me.
Something that came when you were talking, and that was perfectly put, is for the people who, because I really want this to help as many as possible, for the people that don't have more value on what they think and feel about themselves than they do on others, whether that's consciously or subconsciously. It was just like so clear how I saw it, but it was like a lot of times when people are growing up or in relationships or whatever the case may be, or maybe throughout the course of their life, their voice was not valued. What they had to contribute to the conversations wasn't valued. How they felt wasn't valued or listened to. And what that creates for a lot of people is usually one of two things. One is they get really loud and they're very like much feel like they have to force their voice at people, or for the people that have more gentle souls, especially like the light workers, you can tend to get more quiet and reserve how you feel and think and what you have to say to yourself. And it develops subconsciously to where you then d- automatically have this belief system like most people don't really give a fuck about what you have to say anyway. So why even say it in the first place? And it's not even a conscious thought most of the time. It's really a subconscious thing. You might want to say a lot, you might feel a lot, you might think a lot, but and most of us are very deep in, the way, I mean, there are levels to this, right? But like a lot of people like this are very deep thinkers, very introspective. They're very intelligent. But how is everybody else going to know that if their voice has never felt heard or valued? And so, what I feel called to ask you is how did you, or what would you, like, what advice would you give people, or how did you find this for yourself? Of if I don't feel like people give a shit about what I have to say, or like what I'm really going through, because clearly you went through this for like a really fucking long time. So, that I know was very alone for you in that process. So, how do you, what shifted for you that do you think like that helped you kind of make that mental shift of like, you know what, I do give a fuck about like what I feel and what I have to say, and I want to share what I know inside myself is my gifts to the world, enough to where you actually picked yourself up long enough to start doing it?
So I think it was more of understanding myself first, right? And it not kind of it didn't matter what people had to say. Or I didn't have to be louder, I didn't have to be more quiet. What it was is more of me having to value who I am.
Right,
I say in life, what happens with us is the rest of the life, everything in our life, from the trees to animals to all of that, they move instinctually. We're the only ones that's blessed and cursed with what we call a choice. So we can choose to do better, we can choose to do worse. But the thing is, with the whole entire situation, is you're going to be scared. That things are going to be hard, but just to do it. Don't
right,
worry about what the outside is going to affect in here. Really know that what's in here is going to ripple outwards, and that's going to make the change. Again, it's I was scared when I was doing my music at the very beginning, my photography. I was talking about this a bit earlier, is that I always, even many times I went out just alone. Everybody, I was ridiculed. I had people looking at me sideways. I had people, talking in this corner, talking in that corner. And I just be be here, be present in the moment. Don't worry about what this is, don't worry about what that was. I'm just here. And because of that, nothing on the outside was an influence to me, because
yeah,
I couldn't let anything influence me in that way. I had to be who I truly was. I couldn't take the mask off of here and put it on and then move over here and take this mask and put it on. I had to be authentically myself, because that was the only way I could live with myself,
right.
right? I didn't have to be like, oh, I have to fit in this portion or that or in that area. But because of that, those same people who ridiculed me can't get enough of me. those same people who had a problem with me don't want to stop watching every single thing I do and imitate every single thing I do. But it all came through learning. So if you feel alone, you're not alone. Literally, go back. We have YouTube. There's so many videos that will help walk you through certain things or make you understand about self. We have tons of wealth of knowledge, and if you're confused about something, investigate.
What
Come
about for
figure
the
out the reason why.
right? And that is honestly really excellent, excellent advice. What I feel in my heart is like, what about for the people who are like, they have that like internal drive, like they really, really, really want to do it. But what would an example of like positive self-talk for real, like positive self-talk, if you're comfortable sharing, would you give yourself or recommend someone giving themselves to find the courage within themselves to like actually go from the I really want to do this and like my soul really wants me to do it to like actually stepping in and doing it? Because a lot of it is courage and bravery for people. They need
Mhm.
to find that within themselves.
And I think that that's going to be different from person to person, but truly not thinking about it, right? And just doing it. There's many different things in order for you to do it. Like I was talking about YouTube, or finding videos and whatever you're questioning, investigate it. Come to somewhere or something that's going to help you give the answers. To sit in a room without getting more information, you're going to stay in the same room. It's a padded room, and what do we do? We just created our own insanity. I might as well put a jacket on and say, all right, this is what it is with me. But to think about it are just that, thoughts, right? Thoughts actually happen. What thought are you holding on to? Because truly, in this whole entire situation, these thoughts are going to sometimes impede you on your growth in it, right? So think about it, when we think about a thought, that thought in itself becomes more prevalent in our life. It's
It's the
actually
beginning
to
of a creation.
Yes, so we think it and we let it go. So
Yeah.
when we talk about terms of it, we say, you are the sky, not the clouds. You are the ocean, not the wave. So be who you are, and you will find what you need. So it's like you can't think about the past, you can't think about the future. You have to be in the now. It's like driving a car, right? When you're driving a car, your windshield is this big, your rear view mirror is this small, right? You driving down the road and you're staring in the rear view mirror, you're bound to crash every single time. It's there for you to glance to know that that's behind you. That windshield is there for you to look forward to your destination. But the only way to actually get to where you need to go, you need to use it all and be present in the moment and drive the car.
The amount of gems of wisdom that you just dropped. Hold on. Hold on. Just here. Here's your crown.
Well, thank you. And then that's the thing. I want there to be more understanding of self, because a lot of times we're living outside of ourselves. We're living in situations. We're living in
Facts.
our past. We're living in our future. But
Right.
that is our future is waiting for us to write in the now. But if we're writing our past, then what we're going to do is tend to do the same thing again and again.
Reliving
So
it.
it's allowing yourself to be who you are truly and being in your lane. Because if you start swerving in other people's lanes, then what's going to happen? You're going to crash again. But everything that you need, you were born with.
Right.
Everything you ever needed in your life, you actually were born with. So if that's the case, we get clouded by everything that it's not.
And to the people, so you're so intelligent, so wise, and I respect you so much. To the people who need to hear this piece, because I know someone's going to listen and they're going to be like, well, how do I know who I am? Obviously, that's an interpersonal journey that everybody has to take. But one thing I can say that really helped me, and this, then I've done this multiple different times, is when I sat down with myself and got really real with myself, and I asked my soul, like, how do I really like define myself so that I can push out all the manipulation, all the everybody else's what they wanted me to be, what they thought I should be, or what they believed about me, or whatever I believed about myself regarding maybe past lives I learned about myself, or what my mom wanted, or what my grandmother, whatever it is, okay? I sat down with myself, and again, I did this multiple times, but the very first time I remember, I was with, is my video lagging?
No, no, it's not.
Okay.
Not. It just does it in and out. That's it.
Okay. I sat down. This was when I was with my ex who passed away, Louis. And I remember sitting down and I said, what makes me really, really happy? Like, what makes my soul and my heart feel happy? And I wrote that down. And I was like, music, helping people, and healing people, and being who I am in my soul, and knowing that that's helping someone's life get better. Like, if I broke it down to the core of me, like, that's really like the things that make me most joyful outside of like my children, right? But like me as a soul and a person. And then I was like, okay, what don't I like? Like, what are the things I stand against? And I wrote that down. And I was like, okay, so I have a clear defining line of like what I do not want to be or ever be like. And I have a clear defining line of who I really am. Do we have, as multidimensional beings, lots of passions and things we love and enjoy? I love photography too. I actually got into photography and videography like before we even moved out here, but I just realized, like, for me, I just love doing it, but I'm not going to do it as a job. Because I was like, if I do everything as a job, I'm just going to be doing 100 things and I'm never going to get any of them accomplished.
Right.
But it's those things, where like it's a passion that you have, and we have a lot of them. But the way you can find who you are, like who you really are, what you're really here for, what you really enjoy the most, is by sitting down and writing that out for yourself, because it's then that you really get to know you as a person. So like if you do that in a way where you're almost like virtually sitting with your soul outside of yourself as a person, and you were asking yourself questions, like you were interviewing yourself, like trying to get to know you, who you are in this life as this person. That's like kind of like how I did that. And then I was like, oh, that's cool. She's pretty cool. She's a cool person, but
I
but if
love that.
you, yeah, but like I had to flip it. I was like, because it's really hard to see you from the inside. So like if you look at you from here, you're like, okay, would I like this person? First of all, like, would I want to like be friends with this person? Like really get to know you. And that's what I did. And I feel like it's evolved so much, throughout time and over the years, but that really helped me so much, because it also helped me identify things that I was still healing, that I was like, yeah, no, I wouldn't want to tolerate that. Like if I was dealing with that, I definitely need to heal that part of me too. So obviously don't only look at like the good things, look at the parts of you that you need to still work on and heal. But for me, that really helped. And I feel like a lot of people need to hear that, because the identity of self is so heavily impacted by social media, by movies, by the shit we saw growing up, by programs, by family, whatever. And so when we can actually isolate like who we are as an individual soul and person, that's where real growth and change happens. And that's why I know, like, let me rephrase that. That's where I feel like I went from on my spiritual journey to true self mastery,
Hmm.
is when I
And I
really started doing that.
and I totally agree with that. It's about the self-reflection. We're very much influenced on the negative thoughts about ourselves, but to write things down, to reflect on them in the good way, it's the reminder of self. But it being very conscious of your words. Your words are huge. What you tell yourself, the things that you speak are going to be very critical in the shift of your life. Every language, I don't care where you go on this planet, is based on spelling. Spelling. What do we do? It's like casting a spell. So we're either spelling each other in a good or a bad way. For
Mm-hmm.
instance, you go to work during a week where you feel weak only to make it to a weekend where you feel weakened, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's certain words in our language that have been placed in there in order to kind of knock
Esoterically
us.
manipulate human civilization.
Mm-hmm. It's to control to
Yeah.
control you, and if I keep you in the lower energy, you're easily manipulated.
Mm-hmm.
Alcohol comes from alcohol, which means mind and body eating spirit. That's why people are not the same when they are actually intoxicated on these things.
And that's why
So
they call them spirits.
that's why they call them spirits, right? Just like we watch a television tell their vision, that's different channels and programs to channel and program your mind the way that they want. Hollywood comes from a holly tree where sorcerers used to cast spells, which then you go into actors and actresses. What are they? They're cast, part of the cast.
Mm-hmm.
Directors, they're directing the cast
Mm-hmm.
to target. It's all literally set up. But once you break down the matrix, then you never go backwards because you have a more understanding of what it is in front of you. So when you know what's in front of you, you know what's within inside of you, and you know you do not align with what is told to you.
Mm-hmm. And there's only a handful of people that will deep understand that on a deeper level, but it is important to share. I wanted to say, a friend of mine, she's a very dear soul sister. She's a goddess as well, and true goddess. We've done a lot of healing work together, and there were times where she had entities that were really hard to remove out of people, and she would have them take a shot because the shot would open up the spirit, and the entities would think, oh, the spirit's open, I can get in further. But then she'd come in and snatch them out. As soon as they would try to get in, she could identify them and snatch them out of there and then get rid of them. But it's so crazy. People don't understand what alcohol really does. I stopped drinking alcohol. I actually don't know how long it's been, but I know it's been over a year and a half. I think it's close to 2 years. I know it's not been 2 full years, I don't think, but I think it's close to 2 years now. But when I quit, I was just done. And I also quit tobacco. I was smoking tobacco for a period of time, and it was a lot. I smoked a lot of tobacco. But the thing is I blessed it. My blessings are different. So the work I do is very, 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 very powerful. So when I blessed it of the Most High. And, but it doesn't make it better when it comes to, it does make it better, but it doesn't make it okay to constantly put that in your body. I was still like smoking tobacco and drinking alcohol. I also blessed my alcohol. I also transcended the energy of it, etc., even down to the molecular structure. But even then, still, because of the stress I was going through and all the crazy things, I still like way overly did it several times. Because once you use alcohol, once you're drinking, your body itself and your brain starts to become dependent on it. And then your body and your brain is like, well, I need more because, now I'm tolerant of it. And my tolerance is super fucking high. So like I could drink a whole bottle of wine and I wouldn't be drunk.
Right.
But because I'm not, like I'm, my energy is really, we'll just say different. But yeah, so there's like so many levels to all this. But yeah, I would definitely say when it comes to it's too deep for a lot of people, but I love that you shared what you shared because it also tells me levels to what you know. But it is to what you shared about words. It is extraordinarily important of what you speak over your life, over your reality, and over others. And that is something that I'm actually people think I'm more kind of OCD about it, and maybe I am, but I know the fuck how powerful it is and what it does. So I'm extremely careful. And also being a conscious creator, where I've done this work for almost 20 straight years, if not more, but really consciously for almost 20 years. A raven just flew past my window. I have been empowering and deepening my ability to concisely, consciously create and manifest. So for me, it's like fucking that sometimes, like to where I'm trying to think of it even multiple times this week. Just the other day, I said, you know what? I want one of my videos to finally go viral. And this time I was like, I'm going to dissolve mentally, emotionally, and energetically all of the limiting thoughts, beliefs, fears, etc. that I have kept. Because I know I did it. Like, I know I was the reason why none of them did before. Because I was afraid. Because I was afraid of the world finally seeing me. I was afraid of actually putting myself out there because of all the things that happened in previous lifetimes, etc. Whatever. Doesn't matter anymore. So I was like, you know what? I just want it to go viral. Fuck it. Like, I'm gonna manifest that it goes viral, and it's now. And I always said for years, I was like, I'm gonna put all this serious shit out here. I'm gonna teach all my teachings. I'm gonna give all the most deepest spiritual knowledge and just all of it. And it's gonna be one dumb fucking video that's gonna go, and it's literally the dumbest, silliest possible shit. It's a dance battle.
That's how it happens though. Like when you plan it, I always say this. The biggest thing with life you want to succeed, really, the thing that you need to know is expect your plan to not go according to plan.
My mom
That way
used to
you're
say,
never
if you
failing
want to
yourself.
make, sorry.
Oh, you're good.
My mom used to always say, my mom, I love her, okay. But I've been the teacher in the relationship. It's just who I am.
Same.
So whenever she says something that is like, wow, that's powerful. It's been a rare moment because she's very introspective. She doesn't talk a lot. But she said, if you want to make God laugh, make a plan. And I always, think about that because I'm like, even being a manifestor or a creator, all the things that we are, right? Like I've come to understand that I can set the intention of what I want to see happen, like the end result, like, okay, I want to have XYZ happen. Like I really need this to happen. And you can fine tune it, consciously create it, manifest it, write it down, 369 it, whatever you want to do. But you got to let go of the details when it comes to the fine-tuned, like how it's going to happen. And when I did that, like with this house, where everybody was like, what do you mean I was in a hotel and they were like, well, what do you mean it's just gonna happen? Like, how are you gonna pay? How are you gonna do it? You don't have a job. Like I was just there. I had to be there with my kids. I couldn't get a job, couldn't do any of it. I was working from home. I started this podcast. Like there was so much going on. And I literally said, I don't know how to explain it to you. I just know that I'm grateful that I already have the house and that it's already paid and that my bills are paid and the money's coming in and it's exactly where I'm asking it to be because I'm divinely meant to be here. And it's all just happening and it's going to happen. And I've already asked for the divine support. I got pulled for 4 wait lists for this housing program here in all 4 counties. And the lady called me and said, I literally have never had this happen before, but you can pretty much choose what area you want to live in. And then maybe like 2 months later, 2-ish months later, I got a phone call in the middle of talking to a friend who does angelic work. She's a very ancient soul friend. And I was telling her the situation and she goes, I have a feeling you're going to get a house sooner than you think. And I had just opened up to tell her what the situation was. In the middle of that call, I got a call saying, we have a house available. The person that we were going to give it to, it fell through. They don't want it. It's yours. The rent's paid. My bills are cheaper here than they've ever been everywhere else I've lived, which is insane because this is like a tourist area. And I don't even have a car. Like I had to get rid of my car. Like I've just been in deep surrender mode. And all this time, I'm just like, I just need to hold the vision and trust the process. And that's it. And I just like with my move that I'm planning on, like it wasn't because I was like, oh, I want to go there. I can't announce it on here, but it was just from my entire soul, my guidance, my everybody that helps me. It was like, you're supposed to go there next. And we're going to make sure it happens. You just trust the process. And that's even more insane of a move and a process because I'm like, how? But that's where it is. We have to trust in the how. All we can do is just know that if it's laid on our heart and soul to make it happen, then we just got to know that it's already done. And we got to keep manifesting and creating and taking the steps that we're led to and actually being proactive, but also just trusting because somehow it works out.
Yeah, because you can never step into that if your mind and everything is telling you you can't. We have limited faith and belief in a lot of things, especially when we're sitting in a current situation that isn't very preferable. And because it's not preferable, we wrap our minds of what can't happen rather than what can happen. But the thing is life is limitless. We're
It
the
is.
ones who place a lot of the limits on it. So if
Yes.
I say that, yeah, this might not happen, or things of that nature, then what I've done is I put the question out there to myself and to question myself on if it's possible. But the thing is not if it is, because it definitely is. Anything that you set forth your mind to do can be achieved. But if you do not set your mind to the right tune and the frequency of that, then you will never achieve it. So it's really stepping into it with 100% conviction that that's what it is. Is if I put it in physical terms or like 3D terms, when a basketball player is shooting, he's not going to hesitate to shoot. He just does it, right? A runner, he's running a race. When the gun goes off, boom, he's not hesitating to go. It doesn't even take a thought. We don't think about that. It's stepping into it and having 100% conviction that that's what it is, and letting the cards lay at the outcome of it, because 9 times out of 10, you'll get it. Not exactly the way you want it, but exactly the way that you need it in order
Yes.
for you to start to compound on top of it. But if you question it, it may never happen. And then you stay at this starting line that never produces anything. And then we get wrapped up of why did it not happen? Well, I said it wasn't going to. I questioned myself around every corner, but as soon as I stepped into it, it falls in.
You're right. Right. It's like a cannonball when you
Hmm.
light the string.
Yep,
I love your
exactly.
analogies. That's really powerful. So, I want to give you an opportunity to, if there's anything else that you want to share, and or if you have a message for people that you want to be your message from everything that you've shared today and just from your soul in general.
So my message is that you're here for a purpose. You're a gift that is here. Live in the present, because your present moment is your gift. Don't let anybody take who you are away from me off of what they believe you to be. Anything and everything is achievable ever in your life. Everything that we see on this planet has been created by this. Everything that has been destructed has been by this. But this right here will confuse you. Feel it, know it, experience it, but do not hold on to it. Understand that every gift that you ever needed in your life actually reside in you. Nothing that you ever need will be on the outside to take it to fill in here. Know that this is full, and everything that you have here will fill others. And when you do that, that will actually compound. And what it's going to do is spread. We can spread anything, good or bad. But to be present in the moment and truly understand that you are in itself the gift on this planet in order to change, that's exactly what it is. Don't hold on. Liberate yourself. Life is about expansion, nowhere near here to shrink yourself, not to fit somebody else's narrative, not to fit anybody else's understanding, to be who you are authentically through and through.
Mm-hmm.
Because people can say many things, but that doesn't make it who you are. Who you are is here to make a difference. You are going to go through many hard times, and your life is not going to be easy.
Yeah.
Pressure makes diamonds.
Mm-hmm.
Shine. It's not going to be easy, but the best things that come out of life only came out of the hardest moments that you had to go through and that you made it through. You're going to fall, and it's okay. That doesn't make you bad. What makes you great is that you experienced it and you got your ass back up and you kept pushing. There's going to be people who push you down. There's going to be people who do that stuff to you. But that's not a reflection of who you are. The reflection of who you are is what you are becoming. Don't ever be stuck. Life is not made to be stuck in a mindset, not even a mind frame. It's made to be free flowing. Because if you are stuck anywhere, it's like water. You see water in a pool, they have to treat it in order for it to stay clear. If not, it turns algae, it turns all green. It becomes full of bacteria. You look at the water in the river, in the ocean, it's in constant flow. The waves, they crash. It's okay. They're going to keep on crashing. But again, you are the ocean, not the wave. The clouds, they're going to come in. Don't hold on to them. Let them pass through. Because you are the sky, not the clouds. Understand yourself as a being and that you are much more powerful and you are capable of anything, and to just keep on going. That's right there. And that I couldn't sum up. I had to give it to you all, and I'm giving you the whole platter because
I wanted all of it.
it's what we deserve. We get back to who we are and what we deserve, and your story matters.
Yes, it does.
So share it. Share it. Do not hide it behind anything, because your story may change a life. And if it does, guess what? You blessed somebody somewhere and something else in the future. Life is about giving, not taking. Give it. It doesn't matter how it's perceived, because it might not be perceived the right way with this, but it definitely will be over here. Sometimes these people lack the understanding, and they're not wrong for it. They just haven't learned it yet, and it's not their time. When it's time for them, it will happen. But don't wrap your head around what doesn't, and always wrap your head around to what does.
I needed to hear some of this. Thank you.
Of course.
I mean, I needed to hear all of it, but there was some pieces there that I was like, oh, I need to
that
take
struck. Trust me, it's been. I'm gonna tell you what. This was not an easy process for me, and I still have my moments where I'll totally be it. I have tears. I cry in the middle of the night. Like, I'll sit by myself. But the thing is when you sit by yourself, you learn more about who you truly are.
Right.
And that in itself is a much more different type of power. And it's a beautiful thing, because you're shaping yourself to become better day in and day out. And it's okay.
I say a lot of that I feel like those moments are me sharpening myself like a sword, like a master swordsman. I'm always sharpening my sword is like so many things. It's like my consciousness, my knowledge, my gifts, my abilities, my power, like all these things. I'm always seeing it like I'm sharpening the blade.
Mm-hmm.
And the more you sit with yourself, force yourself to sit with yourself, not, oh, I think I'll just sit with, no, A lot of us, we have a lot of conflict, a lot of turmoil, a lot of shit we're working through. So you literally have to put your phone down, turn everything else off, unless it's music, and sit with yourself. And it's
Mhm.
in those moments, though, that you really do look at things and realize, like, ooh, I was ignoring that.
Right. And that's another portion of it. Don't ever run from it. Run to it. Because the more you run and hide, the less you will figure it out. The more I cover it up with other things that, oh, that makes me feel better. No, you're supposed to feel that because you're working through it. And it's like you said, it's sharpening the blade, but you're going to have to use that blade that's going to get dull because you're not going to always be successful. But it
Right.
comes back to the realization that it does sharpen it on the other side.
It does. And it always does. We just have to be willing to actually sit with ourselves long enough to actually make the change that we need to make for ourselves. And that is really an individual journey for everyone.
Definitely.
I really want to thank you from my heart for coming on and sharing so openly and from your soul, because I do know that it's going to help a lot of people. So thank you.
And thank you because without you, this couldn't have been possible. So it's very much the other side as well. Understanding that you are making a huge difference and to continually be doing this because, again, what it's doing is it's healing. Even within me, knowing that the change is there, that's why you don't stop. And so for that, thank you.
Thank you. I honor you and I honor everything you've pushed through, because I'm really grateful that you're here, because
It's been a while.
that could have been a not been a thing
Hmm.
for both of us.
But again, it's all happening in divine timing and when it was supposed to happen. If if this happened 5 years ago, it would
Yeah.
look totally different and it's more impactful. So it's just we're going to keep on compounding on the blessings that we both received today.
Yeah. I'm really grateful for that too.